Good morning, Taste Buds. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. Are you ready for a cocktail, or at least a recipe for a cocktail, or at least a recipe with something that goes along with a cocktail? Well, you're in the right place, because today I am pairing good food with good cocktails here on SoFlo Taste. Salud! How fun is that? I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein, coming to you from the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida, fabulous JA World in Coconut Creek. Now, this may be a bit early for some of you to think about having a cocktail, but it's not too early to think about pairing some tasty food with some tasty cocktails. And after all, it's after 5 p.m. in half the world, so I thought it would be fun to give you some of those paired recipes. So let's get cooking. I'm going to make you an Aperol Spritz that goes with a beautiful bruschetta of poached egg and jamon serrano. Before I jump into anything, I'm just gonna throw this focaccia into the oven. It is drizzled with some extra virgin olive oil, salt, and pepper, and I'm just gonna make it nice and toasty. All right, let's poach the eggs. I want to show you a little trick. Put a little bit of vinegar into the water that you poach the eggs. That way you don't get that little extra piece of the white. But instead of doing that, I've decided to drain a little bit of that egg white, the watery part. Let's crack an egg into this. So what should come out of the bottom is the more watery part of the egg white. Yeah, sure enough. So I'm going to do that to 2 eggs. Let's go ahead and poach 2 eggs. Okay, so as I drain out a little bit of that more liquidy egg white, make sure your water, bring it down to a little bit of a simmer, because if the water is boiling too strong, too many bubbles, that egg is probably going to break. So we want it to be a little more gentle. So I've removed a little bit more of that liquidy part of the white, and I'm going to delicately add the egg to the water. So I have some beautiful arugula right here. I'm just going to add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and some fresh squeezed lemon, and finally some crunchy sea salt. Okay, that's ready to go. Ooh, forgot about pepper. Got to add a little bit of pepper. Okay. I have a little bit of Parmesan. I'm going to go ahead and just use a peeler to get nice bigger chunks. And then you can use either jamon serrano or prosciutto to top off your bread. It's really up to you. Fold it into little rounds, almost like rosettes. Let's get that toast out of the oven. So this is a little toasty on the bottom, but beautifully tender on the top, which is exactly what I was hoping for. Let's put these down. Let's top this off with the ham, like so. And then let's make a little nest with the arugula. Make sure that you spread that love, and you want a little hole for that egg, okay? Make sure you keep a little, we're making like a nest for the egg to fall right into. So using a slotted spoon, go ahead and capture the egg like so, and the other, making sure, yeah, it's beautifully creamy. If I were to touch it and it wouldn't move at all, I'd know that it was a little too hard. So place that onto the nest. That's ready. Let's jump into the cocktail. I love Aperol Spritz. To me, this is one of the greatest cocktails. It's so simple, but it's so perfect. First of all, we have to open some Prosecco. So let's go ahead and add this into our glasses. First of all, you want a little bit of ice, not crushed, just nice cubes. And I love serving this in a beautiful big wine glass, kind of like a red wine glass. So a nice amount of ice. Great. We're going to do 3 ounces of Prosecco per. That's 1.5. That's 3. Next, we need 2 ounces of the Aperol per glass. And Aperol is really wonderful. It happens to be really great for your tummy. I always feel like this drink is the perfect digestive and it just kind of opens up my appetite, and it makes me feel good when I'm eating somewhat rich foods. It also cuts right through fat, which is quite wonderful. The last thing we're gonna do is add 1 ounce of sparkling water. Club soda is really the best. And then finish off with a little orange garnish on each one. You can either put it on the top or you can kind of throw it in there. I love to squeeze a lot of orange into my Aperol. And there you have it, my Aperol Spritz. I'm so excited, this is so great. Okay, come right back. We have so many more cocktails to make with food. All of my recipes, including today's, are available on the SoFlo Show's webpage. Scan this quick response code for immediate access to fabulous SoFlo Show's page. You'll also see this QRC on the ingredient list throughout the show. Come right back for some more food and cocktails. Salut, everybody.
Come back to SoFlo Taste from the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida.
Just like it says, cooked from scratch. Hi, I'm Melinda Harper for SoFlo Taste at the Golden Crust Restaurant in Palmetto Bay, one of the franchise's newest locations. And we're gonna head back to the kitchen to see how this process works.
Here we got the jerk chicken right here.
Okay.
And we got our famous ribs.
Perfect.
So they already marinate for like almost 2 days.
Okay.
But the current day when we are about to do the ribs, we add some fresh seasoning to it. This is the Jamaican jerk seasoning jerk sauce. Onions, pepper, pimento, sugar. You don't put too much. Just rub it in, marinate it in all over.
Okay.
So these are famous baby back ribs. We started from the 4th of July and it's been going good,
Nice.
so we continue it every weekend.
Well, Chef, it looks like you've got a lot on your hands and you seem really busy, so I'm gonna let you get to work. I'm gonna head out front to meet up with owners, Andrew and Michelle, and I can't wait to have a taste of this amazing food.
All right, no problem.
Thank you so much. I am now joined by owners Andrew and Michelle McKinley. Thanks so much for having us. Let me ask you guys, what makes this Palmetto Bay location so special?
Everybody supports everybody down here. The art on the wall is a local artist.
Beautiful.
Just an amazing community.
And what sets this restaurant apart as far as your menu items? I know you've got a new menu item with the Jamaican jerk chicken and
Yeah.
some ribs.
We've introduced the jerk baby back ribs. We also have jerk chicken pasta. The jerk salad, well, Michelle will.
First, we start with a variety of vegetables, different types of romaine lettuce. We top it with our delicious tender jerk chicken breast. We also have a jerk ranch dressing that we top it off with.
We have different items on the menu, and we want people to come and feel comfortable asking us to taste the food. Even the bakery items, we have patties, of course, that we bake every day
Famous.
fresh. Yeah, nice flaky crust. Whether you're looking for meat or chicken or vegan, we have spinach and veggie. For your sweet tooth, we have like a fruit cake, we have bread pudding, we have
Tutti frutti,
tutti frutti cake, we
bun
have
and cheese.
our bun and cheese.
What?
We're known for our buns. We have the best buns on the planet. Anybody want to challenge us on that? Bring it on.
Andrew, Michelle, how do people find you?
Well, you can find us here at 9534 Southwest 168th Street. And if you can't make it in physically, you can visit Uber Eats or DoorDash. You can always look forward to warm Caribbean hospitality.
I've been dying to try the salad and those awesome ribs. So see you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda.
Thank you. We've got some chicken, some fresh vegetable. The flavors are amazing. All of the food here at the Golden Crust Restaurant in Palmetto Bay is delicious. It was so delightful being here. Michelle, back to you.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. Here's something you may need the next time you're a contestant on Jeopardy! According to the online etymology dictionary, the origin of the word cocktail comes from the mispronouncing of the French word for an egg cup, which is coquetier. All this time, you thought it had something to do with the rooster's tail plumage. Now, back to my recipes. All right, so I really love sangria, but I thought it would be kind of interesting to turn the sangria into a pink sangria. And it's gonna go beautifully with a tuna tartar. I mean, who doesn't love tuna tartar? Rather than make a very Asian version, I'm gonna turn this into something a little more on the Française, French side of tuna tartars, because it's gonna go really beautifully with that rosé wine. This tartare gets shallots, and rather than just give you some raw shallot, I'm gonna softly cook the shallot so that it softens a little bit. And then we'll grate some ginger in that same oil, and that will all go into the tuna. Just so you know, this beautiful tuna that we got here today is thanks to Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market. They are at 4191 North State Road 7 in Hollywood. Call them at 954-983-6831. Place an order with them. Please tell them Chef Michelle sent you, and tell them that I adore them. And thank you for the tuna. Okay, so I'm heating up the oil very delicately. Let's go ahead and add, this is just a nice fine mince of shallot. And that will only take seconds to soften. So, as they soften, I'm going to heavily season them with salt. I'm going to use a little bit of Aleppo. All right, I can already smell the beautiful fragrance of the shallot, so I'm shutting the heat off. I'm going to add a little bit of ginger with a microplane. This is some peeled ginger. Let's go ahead and mix that up so that the ginger folds in nicely with the shallot. I do have the tuna on ice. Normally, I would allow this to cool a little bit, but we don't have a huge amount of time together, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add it right into the tuna, like so. Let's mix that up. To that, I thought it would be kind of cool to add something a little crunchy and fresh, so I've got some cucumbers, really nice and small diced. I'm gonna add that in there too. I wanted to add some herbs, so I have a beautiful medley here of dill, mint, and parsley, some of my favorites. So let's just pick a few leaves of each. So let's go ahead and chop those. This is called a chiffonade, when you roll your herbs together and you slice them really nice and thin. All right, so let's go ahead and add that. I don't want to add too many. I don't want to cover up that delicious fresh flavor of the tartare. Let's mix this. I'm sure it's going to need just a little more salt. And I'm going to add some fancy oil, just a little bit. I serve this with some chips, potato chips. I love it with potato chips. So let's go ahead and just scoop some onto this dish. Put that down. Throw some of your favorite potato chips right next to it. And let's go ahead and make the sangria, which is gonna really have a beautiful pairing with our tartare. In this pitcher, we already have very pink fruit. So we have pomegranate, strawberries, blood oranges, grapefruit, all kinds of fun stuff. So to this, we're gonna add 2 bottles of rosé wine. Rosé, luckily, is not a very expensive wine, so it's perfect for sangria. Okay, forgot to tell you, all of that fruit macerated in a little bit of triple sec, which has a lovely orange flavor, and you can leave that either an hour or you can leave it overnight. And I highly recommend you macerate your fruit overnight to get the best flavor you can out of that beautiful sangria. Finally, we're gonna add a little bit of pomegranate juice because it does have pomegranates in it already. It's gonna add a little bit more of a beautiful coloration to it, as well as that is the sweetness. And there you have it. Get yourself a wine glass filled with ice. Don't be skimpy on that fruit. You always want to fill it with as much fruit as possible. I think this pairing is beautiful together. It is a little sweet, but it also has a lot of tartness from all that citrus. And I just think that today is going to be the most beautiful pairing. Well, another recipe in a moment. Come right back. SoFlo Taste will return right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. As usual, I'm coming to you from Junior Achievement of South Florida's fabulous JA World. It's a great educational venue for our kids. For more information and information about summer internships, visit jasouthflorida.org or call them at 954-979-7100. And thank you to all our friends here. Now back to something good. If you haven't ever heard of tacos al pastor, now it is time. And of course, today is all about pairings. So what better with tacos than a frozen margarita? I am so excited. To make al pastor, ask your favorite butcher. For me, that would be Delaware Chicken Farm and Seafood Market, for a gorgeous either pork chop or pork loin You can do tenderloin, but you really want a little bit of that loin because it has a little bit of fat. So I cut this meat off of pork chops, cut each chop into, or the meat of it, into about 5 equal pieces about this big. I think it's perfectly fine, especially with the marinade that I'm going to show you right now. The first thing you want to do is start with some chilies, and these are guajillo and ancho chilies right here in a saute pan. No oil needed. You will just heat these up. It's called toasting your chilies to get a lot of flavor out of them. And then to soften them, you just add a little bit of water. And they literally soften in seconds. You just flip them over a couple of times and they will be beautifully soft. Use those chilies along with the ingredients here. So once all these ingredients plus those softened chilies go in your blender, squeeze in the juice of 1 orange and 1 lime. That will help also move the blender so that you get a really fine, beautiful puree. Then you're going to marinate the sliced pork, and that will go in your fridge overnight so that it gets really beautifully tender and flavorful. After that, you can either cook it whole, and this is what it looks like, or you can julienne them nice and thin. Now, I don't like to marinate them already like this because then it might get too strong. So I marinate them whole like this, cut them up nice and thin, and then we're going to cook them, and that's going to be it. This is really nice and hot. It barely really needs any oil at all. Let's go ahead and cook our meat. All right, so I'm cooking this on like a medium-high heat. I'm really just kind of marking it, and then I'm gonna bring it down to a really nice low so that it finishes cooking while we make our cocktail. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna make the traditional pineapple topping for the al pastor taco. So this is tiny little pieces of pineapple with mint and Scotch bonnet chilies and the juice of half of a lime. Just delicious. It is a traditional garnish that goes beautifully. It's kind of sweetens the whole al pastor experience. Jumping over to our frozen margarita. I've got about a cup of ice in here. We're gonna throw in some lime juice, freshly squeezed. Please, you never wanna make a margarita with anything that comes from a bottle. A little bit of simple syrup, which is basically equal parts of sugar and water cooked down until it just kind of melts together, and let that cool. Use a Blanco tequila. Let's go ahead and add in, and I'm making this enough for 2 margaritas. And then finally, any type of orange liqueur you like. Today I have some triple sec. Okay. And yes. Let's go ahead and blend it. Let's see how we do. All right, that is the perfect consistency. We're gonna go ahead and wet the edge of I think this is a daiquiri glass, with some lime, and finally cover it in a little bit of kosher salt. I mean, it's so boring to dip it into just water, right? All right, then let's go ahead and pour in our frozen margarita, which makes me very happy to see. Turned out beautifully. And look, we have extra, guys. Very exciting. I never make cocktails on the show, so I'm sure everybody's very excited today. Let's go ahead and add a little bit of lime garnish. And let's plate our tacos. I have warm, freshly made tortillas. Now, we don't put cheese on these tacos, guys. No sour cream, none of that stuff. I'm sorry, it's very traditional tacos today. So let's bring the plate over here. Top it with some of this meat. This smells heavenly. I can smell all the spices in this. It's just so lovely. Shouldn't be too spicy at all, by the way. Let's top it with this mixture of pineapple, mint, like I said, lime, and habanero. And there we have it. What I think is just a fabulous combination of tacos al pastor and a frozen margarita. Come right back so we can give this all a taste together. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. The only thing my al pastor tacos need is just some fresh squeezed lime right over the top, and enjoy it with this beautiful cold margarita. I sure hope I gave you some great recipes for your next cocktail party, or maybe just some great recipes for yourself. They really are good. Next week, there will probably never be frost on a SoFlo pumpkin, but it's time to harvest them anyway. I'm Michelle Bernstein. I'm cooking with the harvest of fall on the next SoFlo Taste.
Hey Michelle, I'm typically not one to drink, but I'd happily take one of those cocktails or margaritas because it is hot out here in this SoFlo heat. And tomorrow on SoFlo Health, we have plenty for you. In fact, it's going to get hotter with some hot yoga. We're going to try some Basque cuisine. I know you're a fan of French and Spanish. Have you tried Basque? Well, if you haven't, we will tomorrow anyway, so stick with us to taste that healthy part of the world. And we'll even have a VR experience that's only here for a limited time. And I'll also spend some time with the Miami Marlins. It's very exciting. It's all right here tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on the one and only Local 10 for SoFlo Health.
So Taste Buds, thanks for watching, and please take care of yourselves. I'll see you here next week. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste.